Are you thinking about buying a second home in London? Whether you are an expat from US, Dubai, Hong Kong, doesn't matter. You're definitely going to want to check out this video because we're going to highlight everything you're going to need to know if you're thinking about buying either as a second home or an investment property here in London. First up, are there any restrictions to actually buying a property in London, whether you are a foreign national? And the good news is that there isn't. If you're a UK resident, you're still going to be subject to stamp duty and there will be a surcharge if it's a second property. As an expat, no restrictions, but you'll pay additional taxes and financing challenges might apply. According to UK guidance, you're considered a non-UK resident if you spend more than 6 months during the past year someplace outside of the UK. And if you do have that distinction, you are going to be subject to higher stamp duty taxes. Don't forget, stamp duty is a tax on the purchase price of your property. If it's a second home, you can expect an additional 3% surcharge on top of the standard rates. Foreign buyers will pay an additional 2% surcharge if they're non-UK residents. Total stamp duty for non-UK buyers can reach up to 17% on high-value properties. The other thing you're going to need to consider if you're buying a property as a second home in London is the concept of leasehold or freehold. In the UK, these are different ownership structures that impact your rights and how much of the property you actually own. In a freehold, you have full ownership of the property and the land, and this is typically applicable to standalone houses. The other option is the leasehold, where you own your interior property, not the building and not the land, which often requires ground rent and service charges. Leaseholds will also have a term when they're issued, and they can range from about 99 years to 999 years. This will diminish over time, so you need to be careful if you're running into properties that have a diminishing lease or leases under 100 years. There's also a hybrid concept called share freehold, where you own the shares in the company that owns the freehold. So if you're going to buy a property, you're going to need to think of how you're going to pay for it. There are several ways to finance your second home, and the first one would be either considering a mortgage. For UK residents, you can access standard mortgages, but will require deposits of about 10 to 25%. As an expat, you'll qualify for expat mortgages, but you'll probably have to come up with higher deposit amounts of 25 to 40%. Interest rates for expats will also be higher due to perceived risk. Also, there's buy-to-let mortgages that you'll have to consider. If you're planning to rent it out, you'll need a buy-to-let mortgage, which may require higher deposits and stricter affordability tests. And if you're moving money over as an international buyer, you'll need to factor the concept of currency exchange risk. If you're buying from, say, Hong Kong, US, or Dubai, there'll be fluctuations in your local currency relative to the British pound. You might want to consider using forward contracts to lock in exchange rates. For tax implications, you'll need to consider that your property will likely be subject to capital gains tax. If you're selling a second home in the UK, you can incur capital gains tax in the range of 18 to 28%. Foreigners must also pay capital gains tax on UK properties, even if they live abroad. There's also council tax and service charges. Second homes will incur full council tax, and discounts may apply if occupied. But if you're buying as a buy-to-let property and renting it out, the tenants will be responsible for the council tax. Also, leasehold properties come with service charges for maintenance in communal areas. Another tax to consider is inheritance tax. UK properties are currently subject to 40% inheritance tax on estates over $325,000, even for foreign owners. So with all that, where are the best areas to buy a second home? Well, it definitely depends on what you're looking for in terms of lifestyle and other considerations. For investment and rental yield, you might want to consider more heading towards Canary Wharf, where the average yields are in the range of 5 to 6%. This is popular amongst professionals with a strong rental demand. There's also East London and Stratford, which is rental ranges of 4 to 5%, and this is a bit more affordable with long-term potential capital growth. Also, yields of the 3 to 4% range can be found around 9 Elms with new developments and having a luxury appeal. For more luxury and lifestyle, you might want to consider more historic traditional areas such as Mayfair and Knightsbridge with high-end apartments and in ultra-prime real estate. Going a bit further out, you can consider Hampstead or Richmond for its green spaces and ideal for families. Other questions to consider in a leasehold property might be if there's any restrictions on things such as having pets. For the financial and tax implications, you definitely will want to know how much stamp duty you're going to have to pay and what will be the ongoing costs such as council tax, service charges, and other maintenance. For location and market trends, you're going to want to know if this area might be appreciating in value. Also, what is the rental demand and vacancy like? In summary, buying a second home in London could be a fantastic opportunity and investment, but you're definitely going to want to do your homework. I specialize as a buying agent and work with many families looking from abroad to invest or buy into the London property market. We make sure we help them understand the risk, return, and potential forecasting of how that property might bear out in the future. So you're going to want to do that homework as well. But if you do have questions about buying into the London property market, please make sure to reach out. I'm happy to sit with you for a no obligation consultation and help you better understand what the market has to offer. If you like this video, please make sure to hit the like button to let YouTube know that I'm putting out great content. And if it's your first time on the channel, don't forget to subscribe as we put out weekly videos about the London property market. See you in the next video. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button, and if it's your first time on my channel, don't forget to subscribe to make sure you don't miss a single episode as we put out weekly videos about the London property market and living in this incredible city.